Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, Baby Huey and BrianTronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and that right over there is my tag team partner, BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Back again.
Yes, here we are back for another episode of In The Kliq. Thank you once again to all the Kliqsters for tuning in. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please remember to help us out. Give us a 5-star review and leave a comment below, a review of, what you like about the show, all that good stuff. If you're listening to us on YouTube right now, please hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment there as well. All the interaction you can do, whatever platform you listen to us, please interact with us. It helps the show out. Of course, there's so much competition out there, so many great podcasts out there. So anything you could do to help us out, that'll be much appreciated. And of course, as always, follow along with us on social media at In The Kliq. And if you want to email me, you can do so at inthekliq@gmail.com. All right, Brian, let's just jump right into it. We have so much clickbait news to get into. And man, I know you and I were talking before we hit the record button tonight, and I think it's safe to say you and I are both still in shock with arguably, hands down, the biggest story of this year, and in many ways, the biggest story in a long time. A story that you and I both did not think we would talk about or refer to or just say from our mouth for at least maybe 5-10 years. Yeah. But this past Friday, late Friday or Friday afternoon, I would say, it was announced Vince McMahon is retiring from WWE, giving up all the different positions he had within the company. He is now a retired man. And I know you and I were trying to talk and wrap our minds around it still. And here we are, we're recording on a Wednesday, and it's been a few days. And like I said, I'm still in shock. I'm still lost for words in many ways, trying to sum it all up. Yeah. But I'll turn it over to you, man. Kind of your initial reaction when you heard the news that he was officially retiring.
Well, I initially was sad, because it's Vince McMahon. When you think WWE, you think Vince McMahon, WrestleMania, all these Rock, Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Randy, you know what I mean? All these different things. And, I was just like, I can't believe it, and even the way it happened was weird. I thought he had been hacked because I was like, there's no way he tweeted this out. Like, there's no way. So I'm going through the replies, and because usually you can tell, like, if other people are on to it too, like, it's just like, okay, maybe it is. But people, and I'm looking, and I think it had been 13 minutes or 10 minutes, and no one had said anything, like no news reporters, and nothing. It was nothing I could go off of. But then as soon as, a couple more minutes went by, and then of course we got reports from everyone that Vince McMahon wasn't retiring. It's bittersweet,
Yeah, it was. So I'm looking here. It looks like about 1:05 p.m. our time here on the West Coast in the Bay Area specifically. Vince McMahon tweeted out, "At 77, time for me to retire. Thank you, WWE Universe. Then, now, forever, together. Hashtag WWE. Hashtag thankful." And there's actually a bigger, longer statement that was, I believe, on WWE's corporate website. You can Google that if you want to read the full statement, but it was more or less just thanking the WWE Universe. Thank you to all the fans for enjoying his, brand of sports entertainment, and just for all the support all the years. And so, like I say, if you want to look that up and read the full statement for yourself, you're more than welcome to. Just Google it. But I was with you as far as actually, I got a text from my coworker Mike, who's also a big WWE fan, and he texted me, Vince McMahon retired, and I was like, what? usually I'm the one that sees the news and I tell him.
Yeah.
This time around, he beat me to it. He told me, and I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" And I checked Twitter, and then you and I were texting. I was texting with my brother. Like my brother was driving to work, and I called him, and he's like, "What?" And then I told my dad, and then just some other friends, wrestling friends and stuff. Yeah, man, I'm with you. I was kind of like, I'm in shock. I was like, "Is this real? Like, what's going on?" And I guess for me, it was a little underwhelming because it was done on Twitter. It was not like some big ceremony. It wasn't some big like tease, like to tune in to Raw this week. Vince McMahon has a big announcement. Nothing like that. It was just bam, right on Twitter on a Friday afternoon. But I guess it was done strategically like that because I guess they want to do it after the stock market closed, and that way it didn't affect the stocks, and that way it can just be released like late East Coast time, and people can react after that going into the weekend. But yeah, like I said, just very sudden. And with that statement, it was announced that Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan have both been named co-CEOs or chairmans of WWE, which I was like, wow, it's official. Like I was amazed. Like I can't believe it. So which we'll talk more about that in a second, but I do want to just go back real quick and talk about Vince McMahon as far as I think you and I both are very much on the same page as far as, listen, you and I, our whole lives have Vince McMahon in our life with pro wrestling. When you think of pro wrestling, when you think of sports entertainment, you think of Vince McMahon. He is hands down the all-time greatest booker, promoter, showman, businessman for pro wrestling and sports entertainment. I for as long as I live, Vince McMahon has been involved with wrestling, and so now it's kind of interesting to see, okay, what is life going to be like without Vince McMahon? I mean, have you had a chance to kind of step back and think about that as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's bittersweet because and I know we'll get into it, but it's like I know that obviously some things in WWE need to be changed and have needed to be changed for some time now. But I couldn't. It's hard to imagine Gorilla, or think about it like in these documentaries that we see from different wrestlers, or these 24 specials or whatever, or returning superstar. You always see Vince McMahon in the back with the headset on. You always hear the stories about him being in the ears of the commentators. He's there. He doesn't take any days off. He's there every week.
Yeah,
be Raw and SmackDown, and WrestleMania. Has anyone ever been in charge of WrestleMania other than him? Like,
no, no, there hasn't. I mean, and that's the thing is, I think at this point right now, for the sake of it's kind of weird talking about Vince McMahon in past tense. He's still alive. He's not dead, but it's we're referring now his body of work and his career in the past tense right now. And so I think for the sake of discussion, we're at the point now, you got to refer to Vince McMahon in two ways. Vince McMahon as the promoter, the businessman, as I just said, the salesman, the character, on-screen character, all that stuff. And then you got to look at Vince McMahon, the real person, and what he did behind the scenes, what he got trouble for. So I think that's how we got to separate the two. I'm not going to go on here and bash Vince McMahon, right? The person. Like I said, you and I grew up watching Vince McMahon. We love Vince McMahon as far as what all the years of entertainment he provided to us. It's really been, we can't thank him enough for that. But so what I'm getting at is, for me, it's really interesting. There's a lot of people who've been hating on him. There's a lot of people who've actually been kind of praising him and say they're going to miss him. I just will stress this. I think you can't have and I think Solo Monster summed it up best. I'm paraphrasing here, but he said you can't have a blind idolism for Vince McMahon. You can love what he did for you as a fan, the entertainment, but you also can't shun away all this bad stuff that he just got in trouble for and got busted for. You do kind of acknowledge that as well. So I will say, like I said, I can't thank Vince enough for all the years, decades of pro wrestling entertainment. You and I, we're both Bay Area kids. We grew up here on the West Coast. That's all we had. WWF growing up, into WWE. You know, I'm not from the South or the East Coast, wasn't exposed to NWA and, you know, early years of WCW. WWE was my exposure to pro wrestling. And that's all because of Vince McMahon. You got to look at what he did for the business as far as, you know, destroying the territory system, buying up all the territories, all the best wrestlers, taking pro wrestling out of sections of the country and making it into a national thing, into a global product. Like, all this stuff has been, you know, thanks to him. And like I said, I can't thank him enough for all the years of entertainment. And it's just been so much fun. It's been a fun, wild ride. I mean, the most popular era in pro wrestling was partly thanks to him, what he did, and all the stars he created. Man, Stone Cold Rock, Shawn Michaels, Bret, Undertaker, you know, the list goes on. Hogan, Macho Man, all those characters, like, you know, the 80s, the 90s, and then the 2000s, and, you know, even present time, all the stuff he's done first. So, like, is there anything else about Vince? Like, I guess let's give him his flowers right now as far as what else he means to you.
I mean, I'll just say it. Like, I think, you know, WrestleMania, like, it gives me goosebumps every time. Every WrestleMania season I get goosebumps, and I just think of how big of a spectacle it always is, no matter what. If the build sucks, if you know, if we get 500 rematches on it, you know, it's always like they say, the granddaddy of them all, right? It's pop culture's big spectacle, extravagant, whatever you want to call it. It's that big of a deal, and it's grown every year. It's grown and gotten bigger, and it continues to do that. So it's a little weird because with him retiring and not being in charge of WrestleMania, you know, it's kind of like, oh man, like, is it ever going to be the same? We talk, you know, everyone's been saying, will WWE be the same? Obviously not. So with that being said, it's just like, wow, that means WrestleMania is going to change too, you know, like, you know, and it may change for the better, you know, hopefully that's what we all want, but it's just sad, you know, that Vince has always been in that role to create WrestleMania and to keep it going the way it's been going. And so, I don't know, man, it's just weird.
It's going to be interesting as far as, God, there's so many different directions to take with this. Like you said, this is arguably the biggest story, one of the biggest stories all time ever in pro wrestling. For me, I'm also just thinking about it, like, as far as, I guess the timing, you know, is kind of sudden, but it's been kind of long overdue as well. And this is, you know, Vince, you know, creatively, it's not been as, you know, entertaining at times, as far as there's been moments he still has delivered some really big moments at WrestleMania. He's done a lot of fan service, and there's been a lot of great stuff. But, you know, there's been also some other issues creatively over the last few years, especially since we've been doing this podcast, where it kind of is like, oh, I wish they would have done this or that. And so for me, at 77 years old, I feel like he should have maybe stepped down from creative control a long time ago. And because, like I said, there's been a lot of moments in WWE, while they've been great, there's also been a lot of stuff that's been tough to watch and get through, and just some of the things, how he structures his shows and pay-per-views. You know, like I said, it's been kind of, like I said, it's been long overdue that he's needed to step down from creative, because there's been a lot of issues and a lot of the week-to-week stuff people you know, get upset over and whatnot. And we'll kind of go into that more based on what's been going on this week with Raw and whatnot. But just to kind of fill everyone in what's been going on. Like I said, when the news came out Friday, I was tempted to kind of hit you up and try to do like an immediate reaction. But then again, I was like, you know, sometimes with these big news items, I almost kind of like waiting a few days to kind of let the dust settle, let more info come out, and then that way gives us more time to process and go over things, and kind of gives us more of understanding what happened here. So so I was kind of looking online, and it looks like, while it was a shock that it was announced Friday that he was retiring, I guess it's actually been in the work for the last week. I know PW Insider reported the decision for Vince McMahon to retire was actually privately settled about a week ago. And then right after that, that's when it was announced or decided that Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan will be co-CEOs. And so a really small group of people knew about his upcoming retirement. Unfortunately, therefore, a lot of people were blindsided by this announcement, rightfully so, us as fans as well. And like I said, the reason it happened Friday afternoon was on purpose, to combat any negative fallout from the media and stockholders, because the stocks close at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's why they did it after 1 o'clock our time here on the West Coast. And then, it was also announced that Vince McMahon was going to step down from all creative control as well, which was big news happening there as well. This is coming on the heels. Also on Friday, it was announced that Triple H at the time was going to be the new EVP of Talent Relations, officially be John Laurinaitis' replacement. So therefore signifying John Laurinaitis is done with WWE. He's gone. Let's see. I'm just, like I said, I have a bunch of different articles here, so I just want to fill everyone in all the different things that's been coming out the last few days. Let's see. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics reported Vince McMahon is retiring from all roles, including head of creative. So that was probably just as big as anything, is him stepping down from creative. Let me see here. Also, with the announcement of Vince McMahon retiring, he resigned. Let's see. I'm just looking at here. Vince McMahon filed a statement of changes in beneficial ownership of securities with Securities Exchange Commission. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Here. I'm looking at the. Okay. Vince McMahon dispose of 38,519 shares of publicly traded Class A common stock. The disposed shares are uninvested stocks units forfeited by McMahon in connection with his retirement from WWE. The filing happened on July 22nd. But this move leaves Vince McMahon with 69,157 shares of Class A common stock. The total excludes 100 shares of Class A stock owned individually by McMahon's wife, Linda McMahon. In the filing, Vince McMahon disclaims beneficial ownership of those shares. So I guess by retiring, he does have to give up some stocks, but he still has a lot of stocks within the company. So he still, owns all that stuff, but it's just he can't have power with WWE. That's how I'm interpreting all this. Like I said, it's a lot of info about business and stock.
So does that mean like in terms of like, because I know like I'm pretty sure those talks will come back up in regards to the company being sold. Does that mean he has no control over that?
So I'm not quite sure, but I would imagine. See, there are people saying like, oh, Vince McMahon can still kind of be in people's ears from a distance, which I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know.
Work.
Yeah,
like I'm sure the shareholders and stock people are probably going to say, Vince, we don't want you to do anything with this company right now. You're bad news right now. That's my guess. I don't know. I'm kind of confused
I think it's at the point where if he even tried, I think he would just get a bunch of no's anyways. Right. Yeah. Like he's Vince McMahon, so I'm pretty sure he feels like he could try, right? Yeah. Like he could try to be in people's ears and try and hold some control. But I don't think he'd be successful at it at this point.
Yeah, so I'm also looking here. So the other big thing, I originally saw Variety post about it. I think it was on Monday morning. So as we know, he's being under investigation, not just by the WWE board of directors, but also federal prosecutors and the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, for the series of payments he made between 2006 to 2022. In their 8K filing with SEC, WWE stated that they received regulatory, investigative, and enforcement inquiries, subpoenas, or demands in connection with unrecorded expenses made by McMahon between 2006 and 2022. These unrecorded expenses were disclosed to be a sum of $14.6 million, which WWE mentioned have either been paid or will be paid personally by McMahon. So I got a little confused by that. So he's being investigated by the feds for taking money from WWE to pay off these women, but not properly documenting these as expenses. So that's where he's getting real in trouble. Now, you and I were talking off the air. Like I said, we're not business guys. We're not stock people. But is the 14.6 on top of the 12 million that Wall Street Journal reported, or that? So like it's 26 plus million dollars, or is the 14.6 is the new amount? The 12 million is the old amount. Now it's up to 14.6. So that's where I'm a little confused. Like I said, I hope someone will kind of explain that more. Someone who maybe knows the business side of things better. Like I said, a lot of these wrestling news sites are just copy and paste all this stuff. And so let's see. I'm just looking. I'm looking at the article here, see if there's any explanation. But it looks like 14.6 is the new dollar amount. That's my guess here. So, yeah, it's not looking good, man. When you're taking money from the company for your own personal expenses and not properly documenting it, that's bad news. Because if I'm a shareholder or anyone that invested in the company and you're not properly documenting it, you're messing with my money to pay off people. And that affects our bottom line. And I think also because of this, they had to readjust the books, go back like years ago and document all this money he was taking and readjust how much money WWE was making and spending that each year. So it's, it's a big mess now. So it's crazy, man. Like I said, it's a lot of info to keep track here. So, and so, so we'll see. There's probably going to be more info coming out about this. Like I said, the feds are looking into this as well. Let's see. What else was there? Like I said, because they were not properly recorded as expenses. Let's see. What else was there? I know HBO Real Sports was going to do a story about this, is working on a story right now. And apparently more info is going to come out about him. That's, really going to be shed some more negative news about him. So that's going to be something to look out for.
So I would think he was going to have to retire or be fired, or something was going to happen regardless. Right. Like if he didn't make the decision to retire, something was going to happen. Like, there's no way that he was going to be able to stay in control and, chairman and CEO of WWE with all of this going on, especially with the money. I think that's definitely one of those things where you can't really, like you said, you can't mess with people's money,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the big thing, all that. So I'm trying to see, like I said, I had a bunch of articles different open up because I feel like every day there's been like one or two news items added to this running list of things he's done here. Let's see here. I know like Roman Reigns commented, he was on the Today Show. He said, I wish him nothing but luck and happiness in his future. He's been great to me and my family. Of course, Roman's going to say that. It's what else was there? So yeah, man, like I said, a lot of info is coming out about Vince McMahon. I don't know if he can bounce back from this at all. So he's, I think a lot of people are saying he's officially just done. He can't come back to this at all. And man, it's really going to be interesting to see what happens next. What more info is going to come out? I think Wall Street Journal is going to work on another article as well. But like I said, HBO Real Sports is set to drop a story on Vince McMahon that's said to contain damning details. So, man, it's going to be, like I said, there's so much. And I feel like this is still going to be an ongoing discussion for you and I for a while now as more infos come out. But like I said, as I said earlier, we can't thank Vince McMahon enough for all the entertainment as fans he's brought to us.
Yep.
And how he's revolutionized pro wrestling, the business model, all the stars he made, merchandise, shirts, action figures, just everything that WWE has done over the last few decades. It's all because of him. But at the same time, him as a real person, what he did behind the scenes, obviously that's all bad news. And
right. And I know as of late, or especially over the last few years, a lot of the creative and storylines haven't been great. But let's not forget he's had some really good stuff going on in WWE. In the past, different eras. Let's not forget. John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton, that whole Kurt Angle coming in, CM Punk, it's just so
Kofi
many.
Mania.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so many great moments that he obviously signed off on, whether they were all his ideas or not, him signing off and as we know, created some really, really great moments and great storylines at WWE. So that's what I'm going to always remember. And I'm always thankful for. And like I said, it's bittersweet.
Absolutely. I mean, and it is bittersweet. You and I, we went to WrestleMania this year in Dallas, Texas. How awesome was that event to be a part of? And that was his vision originally back in the day. So,
and you know what? I see a lot of people online saying that they didn't like the event. And I just want to say, being there, if you've never been to a WrestleMania, you got just it's nothing like it. There is nothing. I mean, it's definitely different watching it on TV. You can definitely feel the energy and the electricity, right? It almost makes you feel like you're there, especially when there's a good match or when you're excited up on your feet. But when you're in a building or a stadium filled with 60, 70,000 plus, that's crazy.
I mean, and that's the thing. I not to go off on a tangent here, but you're right. Being there for us to be on the floor and see, amongst the crowd of people, see Bianca Belair pull off that huge win over Becky Lynch, your girl Charlotte Flair pick up a huge win as well. Cody Rhodes, big surprise return. We got to experience that in person. See Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle his first match in 19 years. Those emotions, the goosebumps, everything we experienced, obviously, it's was created by Vince McMahon. So I said, the emotional roller coaster we went through, all in fun, was thanks to him. And like I said, I can't thank him enough for all that stuff. Now it's unfortunate, all the behind the scenes stuff that he did, which was wrong, obviously. So it's a catch-22 because you want to praise the man for what he did for you as an entertainer. But then behind the scenes, it's you gotta, just shake your head. It's oh man, that was wrong, man. Bad on you. So,
Definitely.
And like I said, we'll talk more about this, like I said, over time as we probably get more info. This is far from being over. There's gonna be a lot more stuff to come out. So, oh man, like I said, it's a lot of info to filter through. I'm sure, hopefully that Real Sports news piece will come out soon. We can maybe watch that and review that as well, give our thoughts on it. So, but with that being said, so Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan, both co-CEOs, it looks like the first big action move that they did. One, we thought Triple H being named EVP of Talent Relations, oh cool, he's back in the fold of things. He's now going to be overseeing all the talent, helping out with all that. It didn't stop there. Come Monday morning, it was announced Triple H also added to his job title the head of creative for WWE. And it was oh my God. This is something I think fans have been wanting to see for 5-10 years. I'm trying to think roughly. Because I think for like I said, the last 5-10 years, I think a lot of people thought, Vince McMahon's going to retire soon, someday. And hopefully Stephanie and Triple H will take over the company after that and breathe new life, breath of fresh air into everything and, potentially make things a lot better. So it's finally here. Yep. But I guess the bigger shock why is just because you think about it, a couple months ago, both of them seemed like they were done with WWE. Triple H still was kind of like, recovering from his heart event last year, and his status was kind of up in the air. Stephanie McMahon was taking a leave of absence to focus on her family. And there was those reports of people like bad mouthing her on the way out, saying she wasn't good at her job and whatnot. Now it makes you kind of wonder the motivation for those people leaking that stuff out. But now jump ahead a few months later, it's a complete 180. They are now in charge of WWE in all aspects. So
yeah,
Brian, yes, your thoughts on Triple H being head of creative now?
I'm happy about it. I think Triple H being head of creative is definitely a step in the right direction, or maybe some would say the step, right? The only step that WWE really needs, because I mean, we all know from a production standpoint, and when you look, WWE is just perfect. They got it all down. They got everything perfect, right? Or another thing I guess people would say is, I guess, the hiring process, and so that is all, him handling talent relations. That's great news. But now him being head of creative, that's even better, because know that now. I mean, we saw how it worked out in NXT when he was, in charge of, when he was obviously he was EVP there as a whole, right? But obviously creating the characters and the stories and the moments in NXT that we all have loved over the years. The black and gold. Everyone's debated about that over the last almost year now. Like, black and gold, we miss black and gold. Triple H, like that, everything about that was great. And Huey, you've seen it kind of from the ground up, like come to what it was. And as soon as Triple H left, we see where it's come, where it is now, and it's kind of like, but Triple H being the head of creative for Raw and SmackDown, I think, is a really, really good call. I know that Bruce Pritchard is still there. They said that he's still there as of now.
From my understanding, he is going to be in charge of overseeing the writers, and then presents that to Triple H, and then Triple H has final say. So Bruce, has to report to Triple H.
I don't know how long that's going to last.
And that's the thing. A lot of people are saying, I wonder how long that relationship's going to last. Even though some people, I think, say they have a good working relationship, but who knows? I think a lot of people are assuming, okay, all Vince's guys are slowly going to be faded out. When a new regime comes in, they want their people in. So I think a lot of people, I hate to wish anyone out of a job, all that stuff, or think about it. But hypothetically speaking, a lot of people are guessing at some point Bruce Pritchard will probably be phased out. Kevin Dunn's going to be phased out from like the production side of things. We'll see how that goes. But sorry not to cut you off, but your thoughts. Awesome.
But like I said, I think step in the right direction. It gives you hope now going forward for a lot of guys and girls who you probably thought you'd never see in a WWE ring or a main roster, or like we talk about WrestleMania, right? And all these different matches that we would love to see. As of recent, right? Like I heard Carmelo Hayes say that he would love to wrestle, a guy like Seth Rollins, or, be at WrestleMania. And it's just, I didn't think it was possible, with Vince McMahon being in charge, obviously, because, it's not new. Like everyone knows that he's not really fond of the smaller guys and things like that. So it's just like knowing that Triple H is going to be in charge now, creative and talent, is a great thing. And shout out to Nick Khan too, because I must say that he does his job. I mean, he was the president, right? And he was handling all that business stuff, and 2-night WrestleManias and Saturday pay-per-views and things like that. And I think he's doing a good job. And I think he's, a great guy to be co-CEO with Miss McMahon.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think what I envision them as co-CEOs, I think each of them are going to handle different responsibilities. Like Nick Khan, he's an amazing businessman. He got the most recent TV deal with Fox and as you said, making WrestleMania 2 nights. I think let Nick Khan focus on the business side of things, the deals, the TV deals, the partnerships, the big sponsors, the big events, all that stuff. Let him handle that, and then let Stephanie McMahon oversee the talent, the day-to-day stuff. You know, with the talent, bringing people in, you know, creative, obviously putting Triple H in charge. That was like her first, I'm guessing her first big power move. So like, let her oversee that, the creative, the all that, everything that falls under that umbrella. So, which is smart. Like, I think a lot of people thought Vince McMahon, who was trying to do it all, he was stretched so thin. I think that's why, like, some things you felt like we're not, especially from the presentation and the talent side of things, wasn't at its full potential because he was stretched so thin trying to do all this stuff at once. So yeah, let Nick Khan handle that side of things. Let Stephanie and Triple H handle this side of things. I think, hopefully, I'm just trying to be optimistic here, that with that being said, WWE as a whole is going to be ran better with the employees, all that stuff. So like I said, I'm trying to be optimistic of all that. But yeah, going back to Triple H, specifically head of creative. Now, my only concern, and I just want to bring this up because I did bring it up originally. You know, Bruce Pritchard was the interim EVP of talent relations for just barely a couple of weeks before Triple H got promoted. Bruce was also one of the head people in charge of creative up until recently. Yeah. And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I saw some other people talk about it. You know, there might be a little bit of a conflict of interest there, because if you're head of talent relations and head of creative booking, people are just worried because, let's say a wrestler, you know, asked to take time off. You got to go to talent relations to get that approved. I'm just using that as an example. If the talent relations is also the booker, maybe doesn't want to see you go away, take time off, they might then book you bad on purpose as a punishment. And that's something like I brought up in relation to Bruce Pritchard and whatnot, and that's heard some other people talk about it. I'm not saying Triple H is going to do that, but what I'm getting at is I hope maybe Triple H, I'm just worried because the man, you know, does have heart issues, and I'm worried all this extra work, different departments, you know, might be stressful on him. You know, I'd rather have him focus on one thing and maybe give up the other. So in this situation, I think being head of creative is the more important role. Oh, yeah. Maybe down the road, maybe he can pass over to EVP of talent relations to someone else. That way it's less off his plate and he can just focus on creative and the booking, because that's the number one priority for this company and for the fans is what we see on TV. Now, talent relations, let someone else handle that, you know, deals with, you know, people's schedules, vacations, what their personal requests are, their concerns. I feel like the overall culture, and you know, signing people, scouting, all that stuff. You know, maybe Triple H can be an advisor for that person, but I think, you know, I think at some point it might be best to hire someone for that role. I mean, I'm sure Triple H right now wants to do it all, which is great. Get back into the groove of things. But I think down the road, I'm just thinking that might be best to have someone else in that role. Maybe get some of his guys and girls back. Yes. Well, that's the thing. Okay. So now let's talk about, like I said, with you, I just want to give my thoughts real quick about why I'm excited for Triple H to be in charge of creative. Yes. Breath of fresh air, all that stuff, as you just said, but also, you know, he is younger. I think he has a better understanding of what fans want right now. He, you know, how to do storytelling. There's a lot of things to be optimistic with him in charge. For me, what I'm also excited for is I'm excited if we can get remnants of what like prime NXT was, 2017, 2018, 2019, when NXT really was running on all cylinders. Amazing show. It was must-see TV every week. If we can get that now on a larger scale, Raw and SmackDown, I cannot wait for the buzz that these shows can create once again. I'm excited for that. And I think, you know, the big issue is Raw and SmackDown, there's so many different problems. We try to discuss what we can on the podcast over time. But what I'm excited for is what I love about NXT back in the day was the focus was on storylines. Every week, something else happened that added to the story that moved it forward. It was no like rematches, all that stuff. It was something happened, a major story beat that built up these storylines that would then be settled at NXT takeovers. They were simple storylines to follow for us fans to keep track of and follow along, but we got emotionally involved and cared about these wrestlers and the characters, and their matches were these big blow-off moments that had so much weight to it. For me, I will admit, I was kind of late to the game as far as really getting on the NXT train. I think I really got into it early 2018. But ever since then, I was hooked. And I was like, man, I feel like I should have been watching the last couple years. I gave Triple H credit. NXT originally was a game show back in the day, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He was able to, turn that into an actual developmental brand, sign new stars, make amazing matches and storylines. And every week, TV was must see every week. It was, like you said, and the takeovers would happen every 2 to 3 months. And I missed the buzz of NXT takeovers. When NXT was at their prime, at their peak, remember they would have NXT takeovers the same weekends as like the big 4 pay-per-views. And it was like must see weekend, Saturday and Sunday. You got 2 big shows. And NXT would always try to like outdo the Sunday because they knew the Sunday show was the bigger show. But I remember talking to different NXT wrestlers, and that was motivation for them to outdo them and like, all right, try to top that the next day. So I'm excited if we can get moments like that feeling again, but for Raw and SmackDown and their pay-per-views. I cannot wait. I'm super excited for that.
Well, and even
and
I was gonna say, and even just just a new generation, right? Like, I'm ready to see some of these guys and girls from NXT transition, like truly transition to Raw and SmackDown, and let's not waste any time. Let's work on them. Like, I'm so excited for the possible, like a Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, just to name a few guys who before, when you think, okay, them getting called up, it's just like, okay, well, we've seen what's happened to the last few people that have gotten called up and how they've been treated and where they are now. We don't want that to happen to guys like Braun Breaker. We don't want them having rematches and losing all the time. And like you said, like Triple H would have a story go on, like think about Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. They're long, I don't know, 3 years, however long feud they had once were, best friends, tag team partners. Just how many matches in between the matches that they had at takeovers did they have? Probably none in between outside of the takeover matches. So,
yeah. The
you know what I mean? So,
the anticipation.
Yeah, it was on point. It was so good. So like things like that, I'm really excited to see if, obviously if Triple H can bring some of that or recreate that for the main roster. And you would think, especially with Raw, you've got so much time now to do so many like parking lot kidnappings and
well, we'll get into that. We saw a little bit with Judgment Day and Rey Mysterio. I love that. That's something I've missed. Well, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm with you as far as, okay, you think about it with NXT and how Triple H ran. He had a small budget. Imagine what he could do now with the big budget of Raw and SmackDown, these huge TV deals and recognizable brand names. Like, it must be a kid in a candy store. Like, oh my God. Like, imagine what he did on a small scale, but like times 10, whatever. It's going to be exciting to see how this plays out. Now, granted, it's not going to happen overnight, and we'll get into more with Raw specifically as the example. But like I said, I used to get so excited for NXT takeovers. It was like I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens. Like 5 matches. The storylines, as you said, the anticipation of seeing these people, because he did a great job of keeping them apart, or like they would just maybe brawl it out, but never like matches. So it wasn't like you're burnt out seeing them in the ring over and over. It was like finally you've been building them up for a month or two, and now we're finally get to see them lay hands on each other, and it's like exciting. So if Triple H can apply that same philosophy to Raw and SmackDown, where there is emphasis back on the week-to-week television. Give us reason to tune in every single week to see what goes on. And then when you have like these major storylines involving major feuds with different people, make the pay-per-views more important. Like, don't get me wrong, the pay-per-views for the most part this year have been great wrestling, all that stuff. But you got to admit, some of that stuff, you're a little burnt out because you saw rematches on Raw or SmackDown multiple times leading up to those pay-per-views or after those pay-per-views. And so, you know, if Triple H can somehow focus on the week-to-week television, especially after, but like focus, like SummerSlam. This SummerSlam feels like it's rematches from WrestleMania or Backlash,
or even
Money in the Bank.
Or even last year's SummerSlam.
Exactly. So, but the thing with Triple H, if he could put an emphasis back on the week-to-week television, why we need to tune in, why we need to care about these wrestlers, and don't make us get burnt out of these feuds. So by the time the pay-per-view rolls around, we're not like sick of them already. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this match finally take place. All that stuff I'm not wait to look forward to. And, you know, I know there've been rumors of them going TV 14. And listen, TV 14, the rating doesn't necessarily matter. Like good wrestling is good wrestling. Good storytelling is good storytelling. It doesn't matter the rating. Like you and I were fans of 80s wrestling, the golden era of WWF, which they didn't have the rating system back then, but you can say for the most part that was PG for the most part, right? You know, I mean, you look at it now, it was very kid friendly back in the day, but it was still compelling for the most part. And then, you know, the new generation stuff in the early 90s, it was still, you know, PG more or less. It's just the Attitude Era. That's where they went more, you know, TV 14, and then they took it away. 10 years later, they went PG. I think partly was because they had a new deal with Mattel and the action figures, so they were trying to sell stuff, so they wanted to go PG. I think that's the real reason behind it back in the day. But anyway, what I'm saying is the possibilities. I'm excited for what Triple H can do in his vision, and just how to maybe better handle some of these wrestlers, and, you know, give them better storylines, better characters, give us reason to care about them. I'm curious what changes he's going to make. Is he going to give people their full names back? Give them more layers to the character? There's a lot to be excited for. And yeah, I'm excited for, like, what team can he put together? Will he bring back, you know, he had like an NXT team that he worked with. I know some of those guys are gone with the company now and with other places, but I wonder if he could try to start bringing them back and bring that on a larger scale. Like, I'm excited. And what's the future of NXT 2.0 now? Because NXT 2.0 was changed because it was kind of punishment for them losing the Wednesday Night Wars and whatnot. And, you know, apparently Vince would get these guys from NXT and gals and didn't know what to do with them, how to handle them properly. So it's like, I need better flow between NXT 2.0 and Raw or SmackDown, hence the change. But now with Triple H involved and head of creative, and you got Shawn Michaels down at NXT, I'm sure this is great news for NXT with Triple H head of creative. He will pay attention to what's going on in NXT, make sure they're on the right course, building up their character, their persona, their wrestling skills. So by the time they get moved up to Raw or SmackDown, it's going to be a much smooth transition and hopefully maintain the same characteristics and what we've been invested in watching NXT 2.0. So how about that? What do you think about the future of NXT?
Yeah, again, it makes you more comfortable when you think about that transition. Like you say, like a lot of people from NXT, like I look at a Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, or even like Roderick Strong. I know his name has been in the news over the last few months, and kind of like what's going to happen with him. You know, there's been rumors he's not happy. He's asked for his release, all these other things. So it's just like, does Triple H now being in charge change things for him? You know, I look at a lot of, I mean, they got a lot of good guys and girls on 2.0 that I feel like if they put in Raw or SmackDown right now, they would be able to survive. They would be good. Not all of them, but some of them. And so, yeah, it just makes me feel like, okay, maybe hopefully we can get them to come over to Raw or SmackDown, and they can keep their name, they can keep their music, They could be exactly who they were on NXT, so that no one's like, "Who is this?" Or "What is this music?" You know, the Royal Rumble. I know that a big thing was everyone had different music. It's like we don't know who's walking down the aisle or not now. You know.
Yeah.
Especially when you have someone from NXT. I mean, that was like the big thing, right? You had someone from NXT whose music hit in the Royal Rumble. It's just like, yeah, you know, it's like, that's my NXT guy. Yeah. You know, now it's just like, who is this? Huh?
And I will admit, part of what I'm excited about Triple H, you know, head of creative, is the presentation of WWE Raw or SmackDown. I love NXT takeovers because he had like, or NXT as a whole had that more of that rock metal vibe to it. Now, granted, I know that genre is not for everyone, and you know NXT benefit from it because you know it's a smaller demographic, smaller group. You know, Raw or SmackDown is a much bigger audience. You gotta try to appeal to as many people as you can. But if he can bring back elements of the rock metal presence, just sprinkle in. I know, you still gotta maybe incorporate more pop music, hip hop, you know, appeal to all the masses. I get that. Yeah. Hence why like having Bad Bunny was a huge thing for them over the last year and a half. Other people from other genres and whatnot. But, you know, if we can mix in a little more rock and metal on Raw or SmackDown, I'm going to be happy about just me personally.
Especially in some of the, I'm excited for the possibilities of the video packages.
Oh my God. Yes.
Oh man. That like stuff like that, and it's it's perfect. It's just perfect.
You reminded me, like NXT takeovers. I mean, I love like the video packages. Got me so amped up, and the music they would choose. You know, the Slipknot stuff, and you know the video packages with Johnny Gargano versus Ciampa, Johnny versus Adam Cole, like all those video packages, all the different rivalries. It was super exciting. You know, the on target video packages they would do with Metallica and stuff. I mean, just all that stuff was amazing, and we can get that on Raw or SmackDown. I think people are going to eat it up. Like I said, I'm being optimistic here. Yeah, I know like some people are saying like, you know, temper your expectations, but I'm just excited for the possibilities.
I'm too.
Like I said, I know it's not going to happen overnight, but maybe over the next 6 months to a year, we see all these subtle changes over time. I hope a year from now, you and I are talking about how excited SummerSlam is going to be next year and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah, and then I also want to just add, like I said, I know we're going off on a tangent. I do want to say, like, I'm also looking ahead what the possibilities are for WWE. Is now it makes you want to know. Sean Ross Sapp did with Fightful Select a report that he talked to a lot of former WWE people, and a lot of them did express interest for the most part. I'm paraphrasing here, and Brian, please let me know if I'm off or not.
Okay.
That a lot of people did say if Triple H was in this power sooner or an earlier time, they most likely would have stayed with the company, re-signed with the company, or they felt they probably wouldn't have been released. So is that more or less the story that was written?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So with that being said, what do you think Triple H in charge, what do you think how that's going to affect the roster?
I definitely think it'll make people who, maybe thinking about leaving, or some people who may have left, and whether they're locked in contracts or not, I'm thinking here's one name I'll say. I'm thinking of a Zack Ryder, right? Okay. Someone who's left and made continued to make a name for himself and prove that he can be a guy. Just you give a little bit of a belief in him, listen to some of his ideas. He can do what all the other big stars do: make headlines, make money, put butts in seats, all those things. So I feel like, maybe you just can't. I mean, it's Zack Ryder's one of those guys. He shows up on Raw or SmackDown, he's going to get a huge pop, And so I just feel like, someone like him will be more open to coming back. I'm Karrion Kross. I think him being fired or let go was a little premature. Like I was just watching his entrance yesterday, and I was like, how can you miss this? How can you miss it? Like him and Scarlett's debut entrance on NXT, even with no fans, was so impactful. And I'm just like, what happened? Like that's the guy. He's so scary. That's a world champion right there. Main event of WrestleMania, him against whoever, you know, and it's just, I think the possibilities for a lot of those things now are, you know, more likely than they were before. Even, you know, I'm like an Adam Cole, you know, I know that he was guys like him, and I know Tony Khan had commented on him and Malachi Black, saying that they were both under contract for the next like 5 or 7 years.
5 years, yeah.
5 years. And, you know, but even if, you know, I mean, hell, even Jericho, you know, think about Moxley, you know,
or Sasha Banks and Naomi.
Exactly.
What's their status now? Can they can maybe come back? Maybe Steph and Triple H can talk to them and be like, hey, we're in charge now. We will do what you want. So now I'm glad you brought up the Tony Khan comments. He was on Busted Open Radio. He made it clear that, you know, just because there are all these changes going on, don't expect a lot of people jumping ship right away. But he clarified, saying, yeah, Adam Cole, Aleister Black are under contract. Adam Cole's under contract till 2027. Malachi Black's also under contract for 5 years. Which I'm like, wow, that's a long time. But I give Tony Khan credit, man, signing those guys long-term deals. But I'm sure those guys signed long-term deals last year thinking Vince McMahon was probably going to be in charge for another 5-10 years. They probably thought, you know, we have no other option. AEW is our best option at the time. We're, you know, might as well sign 5 years of guaranteed money. But now it's like, they're probably like, you know, wish they didn't sign as long, maybe. I don't know.
Right? I know a lot of people were congratulating Gargano, like, congratulations, you held out long enough.
That's the thing. It makes you wonder, like, people on Raw or SmackDown right now who came up through Triple H's NXT, who maybe not been given the best presentation or storyline. Maybe Triple H will do some course correction and do a better job with their characters. I mean, hell, look at Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Nikki Cross, or Nikki ASH, excuse me. But you know what I mean? All those people currently there, maybe Triple H Ricochet could do a better job of them. And then you think about guys and gals who were in AEW who left because they felt like they weren't being used properly or released, as you just mentioned, you know, maybe could come back. You know, you look at like Athena, Ember Moon, like, I don't know how long all their contracts are with AEW, but you know, the ideas of them maybe coming back is now more reasonable. So there's gonna be a lot. I think this move also will benefit the wrestlers because now it gives them more options as far as, you know, maybe to get the best deal out of wherever promoter. I mean, this definitely is going to light a fire under Tony Khan's ass to make sure he's taking care of his employees, giving them the best money that he can, treating them the best with their storylines. Or if not, they can go back to WWE now because they know they got Triple H support. So,
well, you know
it's
what?
going to be more exciting for us fans.
Well, you know what? Another thing I thought of earlier, which would be pretty interesting and could be like the make or break for a lot of these guys and girls, whether they're returning or, you know, want to come to WWE or not, is will they be able to do Twitch now that Vince is out? Will they be able to, you know, make money on the side on their own, and do they have their YouTube channels and Twitch channels? Because I think that was also another big thing for guys like Adam Cole, you know, who didn't want to give up his Twitch. I know Dakota Kai didn't want to give up her Twitch. And, you know, a bunch of other people who, I mean, I feel like everyone in AEW, they have so much time off. They're doing so many other different things, you know, other than just wrestling on, you know, Wednesdays, you know.
It'll be interesting to see, what adjustments they make. WWE does as far as allowing their independent contractors what they do outside of WWE. Possibly as a tool to help negotiate people to come back. Maybe they'll lighten up some of those restrictions because they know big picture. It's like, okay, we want these specific superstars to come back to us. What can we do to like really, you know, sweeten the deal? It's like, well, you can do Twitch, you can do YouTube, you can do all this other stuff. We want you back. Go ahead. So, it's it's going to be really exciting. It's like I said, it's going to benefit the wrestlers the most, because then it creates negotiations between both companies even more important for them and what deals they can get done. So, it's going to be really exciting, and there's a lot of free agents still out there. So maybe, Triple H can get them back, and it's like I said. Maybe one day, Undisputed Era will finally be a thing on the main roster. But I mean, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon in AEW. But as you said, Roderick Shaw. I mean, we can go down the list. I mean, maybe another episode we can go down.
Diamond Mine still now. Diamond Mine to me officially has a chance on the main roster now.
Yes. I mean, like I said, there's so many different names we can just yell out, but for the sake of time. But you get what everyone listening right now. You get what we're saying. There's so many people out there now that maybe thought they didn't have a chance on Raw or SmackDown now do, because potentially of the relationship they have with Triple H. So it's really going to be exciting with the characters and the storytelling, all that stuff. So, oh man, I know we're running long here. We can keep going on talking about all this stuff. I do want to say real quick, WWE did announce this morning the location for WrestleMania 40. Let's see. It's going to be at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia on Saturday, April 6th and Sunday, April 7th, 2024. Brian, your thoughts, man? WrestleMania 40 in the city of brotherly love.
I'm kind of sad because I was hoping that it would be the Bay Area, Levi Stadium again. But I get it. It's cool. I mean, it's a different place. They haven't been there since they haven't been in Philly since like '99 or something like that. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it should be fun. As
Hollywood's close enough, I guess.
Yeah, next year we'll be in LA at SoFi Stadium, so that's the one immediately look forward to. But a year and a half from now, gonna be in Philadelphia, which kind of weather wise, I'm wondering how it's gonna be at that point, because it's still like early spring, so will it be like cold or not, whatnot. But it'd still be cool. I mean, I know a lot of people are already saying, Paul Heyman should be inducted to the Hall of Fame that year. Philadelphia, the home of ECW. A lot of people are already assuming the ECW arena, the old ECW arena, is going to be booked up for a bunch of events there. I'm sure like GCW is going to have something, or some wrestling convention's going to be on in that area. So the ECW arena is going to get a lot of love that weekend, I'm sure, and maybe old ECW alum. So, the possibility, it's going to be exciting. It's on the East Coast. So, it's different people from that part of the country can get out there and stuff. So it's going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to that, see what's going to happen. But then again, let's not look too far ahead. We got to look forward to LA next year. That's going to be amazing. Yes. So, one other thing I just want to say, there's a major update. So it was announced today, the Seth Rollins and Riddle match for SummerSlam has been called off. This morning on The Bump, Caleb Braxton broke the news that Riddle is currently dealing with a brachial, am I pronouncing that right? Brachial plexus injury.
I think so, yeah.
From the attack from Seth Rollins this past Monday Night Raw, aka it was like a stinger that he suffered. So their match is not going to happen at SummerSlam. Dave Meltzer and I think Sean Ross Sapp and some other people reported that the injury's kayfabe. It's not real, but they just wanted to postpone the match at a later time, maybe at Clash at the Castle or something. But yeah, Brian, your thoughts on this match being taken away for right now?
I was sad because I was looking forward to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, who a lot of people have been debating over. I feel like over the last few weeks or so, like if he's Mr. SummerSlam, right? But then I started to think, and obviously everyone's, who's Seth Rollins going to face? Who's going to be the mystery opponent? Will he have a mystery opponent?
Yeah, again, like WrestleMania.
He tweeted out and he basically said he's been working hard for the last 6 months to get on SummerSlam. He was like, thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you guys for singing my song. I hope they hear you. And then Triple H replied and said, I hear you.
Yeah. So I wonder what's going to happen.
That kind of makes me feel like Triple H is up to something.
I know it was at WrestleVote said like Triple H wants to have like a big creative moment or make a creative splash at SummerSlam, but only if it's if it calls for it. He's not going to try to force something, but he wants to do something. But if he can have it make sense, that would be funny if Seth Rollins goes out there again, just wants another mystery opponent. I know the early response a lot of people want is Johnny Gargano, because he's already going to be in town for StarCast and stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, oh my God, it would be cool if Triple H can like get Johnny Gargano back with the company and he's the mystery opponent. Big debut for him. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
But I mean, who knows what's going to happen. I'm sure we'll find out. I mean, maybe hope, because we only have SmackDown left this week. It's the last episode of the Go Home show. So maybe on SmackDown something will happen. I guess they probably figure like Seth and Riddle, they had a little feud going, but not the storyline wasn't that. It wasn't its potential yet. I think so. They wanted to make some creative adjustments. So,
and now it's kind of clear on. I'm just like, okay, well, maybe here you go. We have a Triple H thing that happened. There's multiple things, obviously, that happened on Raw, but one at the end where Seth Rollins came out and delivered the curb stomp on the steel steps to Riddle. It's just like, okay, looks like maybe he already had an idea. He wanted to call this match off. That's why he went with that angle, which I thought was a really neat angle to end a Monday Night Raw.
On a cliffhanger,
yeah, definitely. It was like, whoa, what's going on? But yeah, man, see stuff like that is just exciting. I know it's weird, right? Like calling off a match is just like, what? I know some people get like, oh no, are they ripping it out? Are they ripping up the SummerSlam script? What's going on? But again, like if you do it in a way where it's creative and it makes sense, obviously the injury is one thing. That makes sense, and that as to why. Now it'd be different if nothing happened on Raw and then they said Riddle suffered an injury. That's weird, Yeah. So I'm glad they did what they did on Monday, leading up to justify it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk SmackDown real quick. So SmackDown this past Friday was must-see TV for a lot of people because it's coming off the heels of Vince McMahon's retirement announcement earlier in the day. Saw Stephanie McMahon come out, said a few words, more or less had thank you chants for Vince McMahon. So that was about it. All right.
It's pretty good.
And then let's see, about like an hour before the show, it was reported that Brock Lesnar was pissed off, left the arena, and more or less just I'm paraphrasing here, said, if he's gone, I'm gone, referring to Vince McMahon. Yep. So a lot of people were like, oh my God, he left. A lot of people thought, he quit on the company. He pulled a Sasha and Naomi. Are they going to address this on TV and throw shade at him like they did for Sasha and Naomi? They did not do that. So at the end of the night, we had the Street Profits and Madcap Moss defeat the Usos in Theory by DQ. Theory was in the ring. All of a sudden, Brock Lesnar's music hits. He comes down, beats the crap out of Theory, F5s him a couple times, one time on the briefcase. So he did show up. So a lot of people were speculating, the dirt sheets got her on. They got worked. And then the other people saying, no, it was real. It was a shoot. He really was pissed off and left. But they I guess got a hold of him, talk it through it, and he was able to come out by the end of the show. The announcers did seem a little surprised, like, whoa, yes. He is here. What'd you think? You think this was a work, a shoot, something in the middle? Like, what
I don't know, because Brock Lesnar too, you got to think the type of guy that he is. I would like to think that he's the ultimate businessman, right? He wants to do what's best for business, which is, obviously I would think so, which is why we saw him last Friday, right at the end of SmackDown. But I don't know, I want to think that maybe he did what he did. Hey, let's run with this.
Yeah, Brock was pissed, left off, and then I think a lot of people are assuming maybe he got a personal call from Vince McMahon. This is conspiracy talk here, but maybe Vince called him and calmed him down and told him, hey, you're 8 days away from SummerSlam. Just get through this. then you can do what you want after that. But hey, probably said you're under contract or we're paying you a lot of money. Just be professional here, do the job, and then you can be on your way afterwards. But I think a lot of people are assuming maybe Vince personally called him and just calmed him down and convinced him to come back and then come back in time for the end there to do that last segment. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll get the official story from Brock if he ever does like a proper shoot interview.
Right.
Who knows? We'll see. So we'll see how SmackDown is this week, officially on the Triple H's, banner and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and talk about Monday Night Raw. This was the first Monday Night Raw that Vince McMahon did not oversee in its entire existence as a TV show, which is still trippy to think about. Overall, what'd you think of Raw under Triple H's vision?
I thought I noticed the little Triple H influences. Like I noticed the little things that I'm sure that he had shaken up, or I just noticed a certain and I mean even just to start the show like they did with the brawl with Logan Paul and Miz, how that I was already on the edge of my seat. I was like, whoa, what is it makes you, because it makes you go, well, I'm glad I didn't miss the beginning of Raw, or I'm glad I tuned in when I did.
Or like for me, I was like, did I miss something?
Yeah. It's like, what's going on, and then them to just go right into Roman and the Bloodline coming out. I just thought that was different. Usually they do that big brawl, they show replay, and then you got a commercial, and then they come back, they show replay. I noticed that it wasn't a lot of replay either.
Yeah,
there was still definitely some things, and I know a lot of people were saying that I'd read somewhere that the show I think had been already written prior to.
Yeah, apparently I think it was written already by Vince last Thursday. But once again, it shows it wasn't ripped up and like last minute changes. It was like set in place Thursday. Yep. Go through the weekend and just play it, let it play out on TV. Yep. I'm with you. Like it looked like Triple H made some subtle changes, and that's the thing. I think with Triple H, head of creative, like I said, I don't think you're going to see a lot change overnight. He knows we're a week away from SummerSlam. Let's let this play out at SummerSlam, wherever Vince and the powers that be at that point had lined up. I kind of assume maybe there'll be like a little bit of a restart, a reset the following week, or almost like the night after Mania, the night after SummerSlam, or a couple nights after SummerSlam. Maybe we'll start seeing some changes. And then I think it's going to take a few months. I think he's going to look at what he has on the roster, what storylines are being built up, and, let these play out and do some course correction. And then like, what's the next storyline for a lot of these people after that? How we build up to, Clash at the Castle, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. I'm excited for where we're going to be at maybe come WrestleMania season next year. So it's going to take, I think, a few months, 6 months.
And then what excites me is the night after WrestleMania.
Yeah,
maybe we'll get some of that good old Raw after Mania feel, like the way it used to feel.
Yeah,
but we got a little time from now.
Yeah, no, but I'm with you. It's like subtle change, like no over replay over and over of something we just saw happen. You're just like being reminded over and over. I think it was a smart move. Start with the brawl, Miz and Logan Paul. I think partly was they wanted Logan Paul to look strong here. Like they're really trying to still build him up as a baby face, even though the crowd's still booing him. But I think they wanted his his appearance at Madison Square Garden, people cheering him by beating the crap out of the Miz. So that was a smart move. And just start with some intensity, like, oh my God, what's going on? Chaotic. The big thing also, Theory, he really dominated like the first hour of the show. Yeah. Came out, confronted Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Roman Reigns, Theory looked kind of scared holding that briefcase, and Roman Reigns told him, what are you doing out here? You don't know, he was like talking back to him, was like, you better be careful with that thing. And, as a big boss, like tell him like, you don't know who you're messing with. And then, best line of the night was like, your daddy ain't here no more. Like, that was awesome. I also laughed when Heyman earlier, when they were having some mic issues, like, who is that? Is that someone from Jersey, New Jersey? Oh, let's write his name down. That person will be the next one out the door. So it just felt like, from a presentation standpoint, everyone seemed a little bit looser on the microphone or doing their promos. Everyone just felt looser. Maybe the vibe is just a little bit different for the better. Also, it felt like the wrestlers having a little bit more fun in the ring, going a little harder, hard hitting. I noticed that with Sheamus and Drew McIntyre and stuff.
Matches seemed longer,
going through commercial breaks and all that stuff. But yeah, Theory confronting the Bloodline, and then they're leaving. One of the Usos slaps Theory in the back of the head, and he tries to hit him with the briefcase. And it was like almost like a little kid hitting a bully, and they're like, and then they come back, and Roman's like, "Come on, let's go." So, and then Theory's still in the ring, and then afterwards, Drew McIntyre comes out after the commercial break, confronts him. They have a match. It goes DQ, but it made sense, with Sheamus and them coming out, and then it turned into Bobby Lashley coming out for the save. Bobby Lashley and Drew teamed up against Theory and Sheamus. We saw the Bloodline attack Theory as well, lay him out, and then Roman put the briefcase on him and said, "You're going to need this weekend if you're going to try to cash in on me." So what do you think? Do you think Theory got buried here? Or what do you think about Theory? What happened to him this week on Raw?
Yeah, I know a lot of people were making fun of Theory, and they were like, "Oh, he's being punished, like he's Vince's guy." But I also think he's Triple H's guy too. I mean,
he was
Triple
in
H
the way.
He brought him into NXT, and he was in the way. He was a big part of that group, and that whole storyline. Part of me, I feel like he could probably be the guy. I don't know how they're going to swing it with, Clash at the Castle, and I know Drew and Sheamus got that match coming up this week to see who will fight the champion at Clash of the Castle. But I don't know, man. Theory.
Well, here's my thing. Think about it. If he was being buried, it would have been one quick segment and gone. But he was there the majority of the first hour. He was getting a ton of TV time. That's a good sign. And on top, he was even in the middle of the ring after that first segment with Roman and the Bloodline, and they came back from commercial break. He's standing tall in the middle of the ring with the briefcase with a mic in his hand. And the other thing too, keep in mind is, I kind of feel like this is the beginning of him getting some layers to his character, which is what you and I talked about a couple weeks ago. Yeah, like he's made enemies with everyone on the roster, being the arrogant selfie guy. So when he's confronting another big bad, no one's ever going to save him. So I'm sure, from a character standpoint, he's going to reevaluate. Maybe I should have done a better job with others on the roster because I had no backup here. And Roman Reigns is like the big god, indestructible force. Theory standing there kind of nervous, holding the briefcase, like, I don't know if I could take out this guy. So
he's kind of second guessing himself now. It's like, a few weeks ago, he came out looking confident, skipping around the ring. Now that he's face to face in the ring, Roman told him, he said, "Get in here. You got to get in my ring. If you're going to be in my arena, come into my ring." And then he got in there, and he's like you said, he's like almost afraid, don't know what to do. Like, oh my God, I'm really standing in front of Roman. And it kind of makes you think, like, is he going to choke like this when it's time to cash in the briefcase? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah. And you also, in some ways, maybe kind of develop a little sympathy towards him. But like, okay, this guy's a little inexperienced, doesn't know what he's doing. So that's how you kind of start to emotionally care about him. It's like, can he actually pull this off now? We have doubt too. So like I said, the little subtle presentation here really changes your perception of him as a character. So I think that's important. Now, granted, we'll see what happens at SummerSlam. Is it going to be a failed cash-in, or are they going to hold off on a later time? Who knows? But at least here was a good story moment for him in theory and his character. So,
and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there was any selfies.
No, I don't think so.
No, there was no selfies. It was just him in the briefcase. And that was it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was refreshing to see also.
Yeah. The other big thing this week was, of course, Rey Mysterio's 20th anniversary with WWE. It's more his debut at WWE, right? Because he was gone for a few years, Lucha Underground. He was doing the indie stuff.
Yep.
So I guess technically it's 20 years with since he debuted with the company. The segment I thought was great. You know, him and Dominik came out and he just cut a promo and just thanked everyone, thanked all the support and what he was able to accomplish, all the friends he made along the way. I think a lot of people just thought Dominik was going to attack him and turn heel. No, he didn't. He didn't. But the Judgment Day, Finn and Damian Priest come out and confront them. It turns into a match, and Rey and Dominik actually pick up a victory over the Judgment Day. They go in the back afterwards in celebration with his family and friends, Rey's family and friends, which, by the way, I love that his party were staring at the TV head on, not off to the side. That's another great detail, like real life, how you watch a TV. But the big thing was, his daughter gave him his old Halloween Havoc, the purple costume. Like, I guess she found it, which... It was missing, apparently. I don't know. Like, I thought Santos Escobar had it on NXT.
Right.
But anyway, Rhea Ripley returns, shows up in the party unannounced, wearing a "I'm Your Poppy" t-shirt. So nice little dig at Rey, and obviously wearing an Eddie Guerrero shirt. Rey's daughter confronts her. It's like, get out of my way. Buddy Murphy tweeted, let them both fight for my love in a ladder match. Because we know storyline wise, Rey's daughter and Buddy Murphy had an on-screen romance, but in real life, Buddy Murphy is going out with Rhea Ripley. So Buddy's tweet was very funny. But yeah, Rhea attacks the party, takes Dominik outside, beats him up. Judgment Day, the rest of the Judgment Day comes out, and they beat up Rey Mysterio, powerbomb him through a table, and he takes out in the stretcher. I love this because it's like adding, one, it gives Judgment Day some credibility as like a badass group, but also, it's just nice to kind of, you build up a feud with like I want to say violence, but violent segment, backstage segment, and just adds reason why you want to hate the Judgment Day. And you want to have sympathy for Rey Mysterio, the Mysterios as a whole. But I really enjoyed this segment. How about you?
I enjoyed it too. And I loved Finn Balor saying, "This isn't your anniversary, it's my birthday."
Oh, yes, it was Finn Balor's birthday too.
I love that, man. And it kind of goes in the opposite direction in which where everyone had kind of, the reports came out about Judgment Day possibly using supernatural abilities and things like that. This is completely in a different direction than that. They're just fed up. They're mean. They're nasty. They're going to take you out. They don't care how you feel about them. Rhea Ripley looking as badass as she's ever looked. You know what I mean? And she's not afraid, whether you're Rey Mysterio, a legend, or his daughter, his son. Like, she just doesn't care. I love everything about Judgment Day. You know what I was thinking, real quick sidebar?
Yeah.
What if Edge comes back to rejoin the Judgment Day?
Well, that's the thing. So we saw another promo video package, which everyone assumes it's Edge. And now people assume, like, a lot of people thought he was maybe going to return to Madison Square Garden. Didn't happen. Now it's like, all right, it's probably, the last video package this week says, "I am coming too." And I think everyone assumes it's going to be at SummerSlam. So a lot of people think, what could happen? Maybe the Mysterios and Judgment Day are gonna have a rematch at SummerSlam, but like, was it no holds barred, right?
Yep.
Or no DQ,
no
whatever
disqualification.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe Judgment Day wins and they beat the crap out of Mysterios, and Edge comes out, makes the save, or maybe Dominik gets taken out before the match. Rey needs a new partner, and Edge comes out to be his new partner. Because weren't they a tag team back in the day? So
yes,
and that way gets revenge on Judgment Day. Or I didn't think about that. Yeah, maybe he rejoins Judgment Day, but I don't know. But
maybe Dominik gets taken out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We'll see. But looking forward to see what Edge can do and what his new character is going to be. So we'll see.
Another sidebar, real quick. I didn't realize until I just looked. I keep forgetting, and I think a lot of people are forgetting. There he has a United States Championship match on Saturday.
Oh yeah, against Bobby Lashley.
So while everyone's talking about he got buried, he literally could win the United States title back on Saturday.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Another thing I did like was, Alexa Bliss defeated Doudrop, which I hope, by the way, Doudrop gets her Piper Niven name back. I hope other people get their full names back under Triple H's creative vision. But I like the promo Alexa Bliss cut after the match. And she looked at the camera and she said, like, hey, Bianca, hey, Becky, whoever wins that match, be careful. I'm coming after you next. Like, I'm next in line. Yep. So it's like, it gives Alexa Bliss finally maybe a story now that she's going to go after the title. Gives her some direction. Keep in mind, Rhea Ripley's back. She was supposed to have a title match at Money in the Bank. So it looks like Alexa Bliss and Rhea Ripley are going to be the next, couple contenders for the Raw Women's Championship. I mean, there's rumors of, could Bayley make her big return this weekend as well as SummerSlam? So a lot of things are starting to heat up. That's going to be really interesting to watch. I was not a fan of the impulsive TV with Logan Paul. I just feel like the crowd's still booing him. Even though Miz came out and did his thing, it's just not working. We'll just get through this SummerSlam and hopefully Logan Paul go away for a while. Yeah. I just wish. Did you see the promo Ciampa cut on web exclusive? Like, they should have had that on TV. Like,
man.
Ciampa said Logan Paul, look, his face is all over the WWE logos and stuff, but he hasn't been here all the time like we are. That's why Ciampa wants to take out Logan Paul. It was such a great, heated, raw, emotional promo.
Had he cut that promo on TV, Logan Paul would have gotten booed out of the building.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I get that. Also, like, little details, Dolph Ziggler explaining why he's mad at Theory. Like, he's this cocky young guy's accomplished it all. He needs to be taught a lesson. It's like he finally gave a little explanation. Like, normally in the past, they would just have two people wrestle and we don't know what the motivation is. So, and then AJ Styles, talks to him in the hallway and they're like, hey, we both respect each other. Let's tag. And then they had the match with Alpha Academy.
Not just an impromptu, this is going to be a tag team match now, like,
but they had
tag match. They had a common, enemy.
And they had a confrontation backstage, and it led to the match. Like, okay, those little details matter. The main event, though, we saw Bloodline defeat, Riddle and Street Profits. Cool seeing Street Profits in the New York Knicks jersey.
That was cool.
Montez Ford got busted open, though. That was a little scary, some blood, but I'm sure Cody Rhodes was like, oh man, that should have been me. But so Bloodline wins, and then Seth Rollins comes out and curb stomps Riddle's head on the steps there, the steel steps, and then he has a stare down with Roman Reigns. So it ends on this cliffhanger. So like we mentioned earlier, Riddle's not going to be at SummerSlam now. What is for Seth? Like, does he have a mystery opponent? Does he add himself to the Brock Roman match, make it a triple threat? Could it be like a triple threat, but then like Theory comes in, catches it, and makes it like a fatal four-way? I mean, there's so many different possibilities now. But that way they ended Raw on the cliffhanger, that was a nice little touch. Just it was great. So, no, like you said, there were aspects of Raw where it just felt like a regular Raw. But there's little subtle things in the presentation that made me optimistic about the direction and where it can go. Less replays, the wrestlers felt more loose. Even on SmackDown, I forgot to mention this New Day, Xavier Woods dropping He's Still the King and dropping Ring of Honor and IWGP, New Japan Pro Wrestling references. Michael Cole calling the WWE Universe just fans. So like maybe all those buzzwords will go away and they can just talk normal. Yep. I mean, there's so much to look forward to. And as a WWE fan, I'm excited for it. So, I don't know, Brian, anything else from Raw that stood out for you?
I think we kind of covered and hit all the important stuff.
Becky attacking Bianca Belair. Man. No, it just, like I said, a lot more wrestling, less replays. People explain their motivations. Backstage segments that matter and lead to more confrontations and adds to the fuel to the fire and the feuds, all that stuff. I mean, do that on SmackDown and create simple storylines for us to care about. It's going to be good, man. I'm really excited. So so we'll see how it goes.
The little things like that, it got me more excited even just for SummerSlam, because now I know that there's going to be more thought put into it, okay, this is SummerSlam. this is the biggest event of the summer. We got to do something. We got to give the fans something, right? And I think that's what Triple H may have meant when he said he wanted to make a creative splash. Like, he knows that something's got to happen, you know, something, you know, even if it's just something really, really small, you know, something's got to happen. So, you know, it makes me think, and I'm like, okay, we'll see. Hopefully.
I wonder if Bianca will beat Becky in 26 seconds as payback for last year's SummerSlam. But then I'm worried that sucks for Bianca. She doesn't get to wrestle that long of a match.
Right.
But then like Bayley comes out or something. I don't know. There's so many different possibilities. So I'm really excited for SummerSlam. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
So, all right. On that note, let's start wrapping things up. Brian, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters, you guys can find me at BrianTronic on Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. For everything else, follow us at In The Kliq on social media. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts at, and also subscribe to our YouTube page. If you want to email me, you can do so at inthekliq@gmail.com. And thank you once again for all the support. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line, because Huey said so.